that's where the difference comes in, is we want to democratize data across your companies, right? We're not just a SQL tool or someone you'll need an analyst to go write. And that's a big advantage Amplitude has seen and provided, is to get answers to the questions like this quick, right? Like in less than 2 seconds. A lot of time people used to have to wait for the analyst for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and by then your moment is lost.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here with Hiral Shah, who is the Director of Product at Amplitude. Hey, Hiral, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing really well.
Excellent. Great to have you here. I'm excited about our conversation.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about what you do as Director of Product at Amplitude.
Yeah. As a product leader here at Amplitude, I'm overseeing kind of our add-on product. So I'll talk a little bit more about Amplitude in a second, but we really help companies build better products. A big part of that is how do we gather the data, insights, and help people activate. So a lot of my role is really understanding the users and customers, spending a lot of time with them, understanding what they're doing, and then how can we really give them that customer 360 view that they're looking for in order to drive growth in their business.
I love it. And this is such an important part of actually getting traction in a company. So let's talk about that a little bit. Tell me about Amplitude. Let's start from the high level and then drill down into maybe some use cases of how people are using your platform for success.
Andy, when you think about today's world, digital products are everywhere, right? Like it is a core driver of business growth for people, for industries across, and it has even accelerated in the last 3 years that we've seen. But we encountered teams that still don't know how to capture the right data, right behavioral data about their users, ask the right questions. And then also what that means is they cannot drive the right conclusions and answers to drive that business growth. And that's where Amplitude comes in. It helps the teams unlock the power of their own products. Our analytics, so we are a digital analytics platform. So our platform really guides the customers all the way from like gathering insights, capturing that data, creating the trust in that data, but also uncovering insights, right? Like, from that behavior, like who's doing what on your platform, and then take action. All of that is in purpose of driving more engagement, having more retention, having more conversion. So build that loyalty with like a stronger lifetime value with that customer. And we have tons of customers across the board, very household names that you might have heard about, like Jersey Mike's, Shopify, Under Armour. So it's a really wide range of spectrum of customers we serve, but anyone that's kind of on this digital journey.
It's wonderful. And so in the analytics space, there are so many different parts of the analytics Rubik's Cube, I guess. There's so much to it, right? So tell me a little bit about how you differentiate from others in the market and what are some of the use cases that people use Amplitude for that really, you mentioned activation, for example. It's a great use case. Tell me a little bit about how other people are using the platform.
Yeah. And that's kind of what, right? Like you just nailed it. It's like, it's a platform, right? A lot of people, there's a lot of companies out there that just do analytics. It's just giving you that. For us, we think about it as this loop. It's data, insight, action. That only when that loop completes, you get a lot of that value. Right. So we have 1,900 customers, just over that. And then another huge thousands of customers that are on our free starter plan, all the way from startups and SMBs. One use case, there's definitely tons of different use cases people have used us for and kind of continue using us for as well. But one comes to mind is SoFi, right? Like for those of you not familiar, SoFi is a financial platform. They were really well known for serving student loans. They wanted to do more than just helping people pay off their loans. So they started digging in the data on how people are coming, behaving. And one of the biggest insight they learned, especially using Amplitude, was the customers that interact with their finances three times in a week, they're way more likely to hit their financial goals. And that kind of helps to, have them reach that life milestone that they want to do, which is not just paying off the loan, but a lot more than that of financial independence. That's one example. A second big one I can think about is Burger King, right? Like we know the name brand, especially Burger King UK, arm of that uses Amplitude. They discovered a big unserved group of users. They used to never serve this, who were really dying to have vegan menu. And this led them to kind of add a range of vegan products, especially in their flagship store in London, that served just fully plant-based menu in March or April of last year. And now, because of that, this is able to really help them bring more and more new customer base, but it's also creating loyalty. And it's an important part of that customer base. I share those examples just as because, we are all used to that. But a big part of that driver, right, is not only like giving you that, hey, okay, this is analytics, this is the funnel people do, but what is the insight, right? What helps you drive, what helps people retain and convert are the things Amplitude provides. And these are all just part of the Amplitude platform and built in a way that gives all of these digital leaders, product managers, the power to answer these questions right there by themselves.
I love it. And those are great examples of how people are using the platform. And I know that you have this behavioral graph that's part of your platform, right? So is that the part of the platform where those insights are being surfaced up?
Yeah, so the behavioral graph is our own proprietary layer, or like, inside our AI ML base. There's a lot of different parts. So if you think about from a technology stack, the big part at the bottom is the data platform, right? This is really getting and capturing data from all touch points that a customer has, whether they come in the store, whether they use your app, all of those. So that helps. That's the data we kind of do. And then it's our behavioral graph that helps to get these insights. And they are served in a couple different ways, right? To either do the analysis part, which is giving you very quick, in 2 seconds, you can get an answer to your question, right? Like who dropped off at this step or who does that. But then we also have other capabilities. So like one of the products I manage around customer data platform is to create audience segmentation out of it, right? So once you have that insight, what is that segment of user you either want to retarget to bring them back, or you want to give a coupon so they can do more and help drive more of that conversion and uplift in that side of the world.
Very cool. And that sounds like the experiments part of your platform where
yes,
you're able to, leverage the data and some of these insights and then come up with hypotheses and quickly test them out so that you can know if it's working or not, if it's got legs.
Yeah, exactly. We should sometimes joke is like, we want to be that brain, the power to your products, right? Like the brain behind. So that's like where a lot of the technology time is spent in really doing even AI machine learning to come up with these right recommendations and predictions for our customers. And then we integrate with a huge set of marketing tools, MailChimps and HubSpots of the world, so that you can then quickly activate and go get that users to your platform.
Very cool. Talk to me a little bit about the customer experience. So, because it's a very complex kind of deep, data lake that you guys are swimming in here. So tell me a little bit about how, I'm a customer, say I'm a medium-sized business, mid-market company. I come to you and I say, we desperately want to grow. We've got big, lofty goals here. Want to plug into your platform. What are the steps and what's the journey from there to say, here's how you set things up properly and what should I be thinking about?
It's a great question. There's a lot of different paths you can choose depending on how savvy you are or how where you are in your digital journey. We have a lot of the startups, right? Like that's why I mentioned it's a free tier and a starter tier where people can get started like tomorrow, right? All you need as a product leader or digital leader is like, an engineering counterpart who's using and giving that data, sending that data into the platform. For some of our customers, we also work very closely hand to hand with our professional services team, dedicated customer success manager. They really help you first translate what are the top business questions you want to ask, right? Make a list of those. Which ones do you prioritize? We do see this a lot in the world, right? Like a lot of the last few years had been spent by some of the other tools is like you just capture everything and then you still don't have the answers to the questions you're looking for. And we want to start the other way. It's like, what is the questions you're trying to get answers to? Now let's design like, okay, what are those tracking? What is the data you should gather and input into the system? And once the data is there, really the charts and all are very self-serve. We also do a lot of ongoing education, content training if people need it, right? For people who are trying to use for the first time. But the tool is very self-intuitive, user-friendly, so that anyone can go create their first chart in seconds. A lot of time also what happens is some people who start to create charts, they start sharing, right? So you might not be the one creating. And that's something we see WeTransfer, right? Like the CEO of WeTransfer goes into Amplitude dashboard like every 2 hours in the day because real-time business KPIs are what he looks at, right? Like what's my revenue, all of those kind of things. And that we've made it very intuitive and self-serve. So I would say like that's kind of the model, but that's where the difference comes in is we want to democratize data across your companies, right? We're not just a SQL tool or someone you'll need an analyst to go write. And that's a big advantage Amplitude has seen and provided is to get answers to the questions like this quick, right? Like in less than 2 seconds. A lot of time people used to have to wait for the analyst for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and by then your moment is lost.
Right.
But we want to get people to do these questions faster and then change their product quickly as well.
I love it. It's such an important part of being able to have visibility into oftentimes what's hidden data or hidden,
Yes.
parts of the customer experience. So being able to, really kind of turn on the light where it was once dark, is really a useful capability. What kind of verticals do you focus on? Are there certain verticals that you specialize in, and or is I'm sure it is applicable to businesses across the board, but
yeah.
Who's really benefiting from your kind of platform?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely a wide range, but a big part of it has to be that digital is a big part of your business, right? That you're really focused and wanting to do more and are on this journey is where like people have benefited. So, some of our large from an enterprise household brands, there's a lot of media and entertainment like NBC Universal on our platform, as well as a lot of what we talked about like food brands, and then a lot of like B2B software as well. Definitely it's things like that have digital presence are the ones that benefit a ton out of the product.
Love it. And as experts in the field of growth, how are you guys growing the company? What are some areas that you're
Yeah. I mean, clearly we're a very product first company, right? Serving product analytics. A big driver of what we serve is also growth, right? It's growth and retention. So internally, we have a big motion around product-led growth. At the same time, it's also sales-led as well. So it's more like product-led sales. So we can see how people are using the tool, help sales do that. We have both of those motion going. Definitely when we get into the large enterprises, having that sales counterpart, explicitly kind of helping you walk through all of the big different parts of your business helps. But for us, like growing the company starts from that grassroots, like having people understand, use the product more and more, and then at the right times, expose them to the new features, right? The new things, but also more based on what they want to do. And a lot of our new development and even growth comes from expansion, not just new lands, right? Like the same people doing more. Like once they see the value, they're like, oh, I have this data that I want to bring in, right? And get insights on. This other unit in my company could also benefit. And that's something we've seen definitely percolate around at a company.
Very interesting. And who in the company is your ideal customer profile? Who's the candidate who's pulling the trigger on, we got to get behind Amplitude here?
Yeah, so most of the time we've seen a lot like it is product managers, product leaders, or digital leaders at a company are the primary buyers. We definitely see they do work in conjunction with like the data leaders at the company, because one of the biggest things the data leaders also want to do is democratize all of these insights, right? And the more they can make others self-serve and self-access these insights, the better it is. So those are kind of the primary personas. Marketing also plays a big role when we switch into the action part, right? Once you've analyzed how do we activate and send to those marketing campaigns, how do we do that? So growth marketing is a big part of like the user base that comes and uses the tool as well. But the buyer persona has been product and data.
Yeah. And you mentioned education is a big part of what you do as well. Talk to me a little bit about how marketing and content marketing, really content marketing as a content marketing guy myself. Tell me how content marketing has added value to the company.
It's huge, a big part of what we do, and the way we've done it is definitely in a multiple different folds, right? Like a lot of it is giving some of that content for outbound, but the biggest value that we've found, is our blogs where people come, we write joint case studies, blogs with our customers, so they have real life tangible examples. But at the same time, we do playbooks. I think those have been very, very popular. And this is where our team is doing a lot of the research, right? Like, and putting a lot of those together and giving you frameworks that can start helping do those. We even have translated those playbooks now into workshops. So we have a product evangelist dedicated, comes with the team to help you, like a North Star framework or mastering retention and engagement. How do you think about as you're transitioning to be that digital first company? So the playbooks play a big, big part. Like I've contributed to some of those as well. And then we do a more ad hoc things. We also have a big conference, the gathering where people learn a ton from each other, like Amplify, that happens sometimes in spring.
Great. And when is it? Spring's coming up.
Yeah, we haven't announced the date yet, so stay tuned on that front, I would say.
Stay tuned. All right. Well, that sounds great. Well, I guess my last question for you is, what would you like to be celebrating a year from now? You guys are growing. You got so much going on here. You got a lot in development on the product side. What would you like to be celebrating about a year from now?
Yeah, I was definitely deeply thinking about this. There's definitely so much more we can do. That one is the reach, right? Like helping a lot more and more businesses get the value out of the data they've already used. But for us, the other big part of it is enabling the customers to also gather the insights and take action. So truly use our platform for all of the built-in capabilities. We have the built-in experimentation, that's an action, the audience management, so you can activate that data, and recommendations, predictions that can really help you complete the loop. So we want to see more and more customers kind of completing the loop to drive that business growth and not stopping at just getting the insight.
I love it. What an exciting product to be leading and to see your customers grow, and great customer stories around that. Congratulations with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely super, like, that's why I love my job, because I get to work with all of these customers day in and day out. So I wake up very excited to having that impact through the product we build.
Very cool. And Hiral, how do people find you?
So we are at amplitude.com, very simple. And there's a lot of content blogs, so you can even get started to learn about those use cases that might be relevant to yours. And you can start. There's a lot of trial demo. It doesn't cost you anything. So I would say go sign up today at amplitude.com.
I love it. All right, Hiral, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
Thanks, Andy. It's been great to be here.
My pleasure.